Today, on Be Something Wonderful, potent technique to change your past and create your ideal future. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning here from the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. I have a big video today. I want to talk about this client that was really stuck on the idea of her past, right? Events that happened with her specific person, things that haven't happened in her career, thinking that she's stalled, thinking that nothing is changing, right? This whole idea that nothing has changed. And we had some pretty big discussions in that idea that, remember, how you define yourself right now creates who you were and who you will be. In other words, it creates your horizontal past and your horizontal future. It's all happening right now. We've talked about that in many different ways. So when you declare that nothing has changed, well, that past is created. Remember, you're the one creating that proof or evidence right now by who you're defining yourself to be. You're defining yourself as that identity where nothing has changed in the past and nothing is changing now. So how would you even know? Because you're an identity that has a linear past that makes sense to this identity right now that you're declaring yourself to be when nothing has changed. These ideas happen, and we came up with I talked about two techniques, and they're not new. I've talked about them before. And we're going to talk about this. It changed everything for her, right? The series of sessions we had here on this whole idea of creating everything now, and then these two techniques, she'll never say ever again that nothing has changed, right? She goes, Tom, oh my God, I feel light as a feather. She goes, just love and gratitude to all of me's. I'm going to get into what she means by this because it relates to the techniques that I talk about towards the end of the session, these different versions of you, right? And she mentioned the specific person wants to see her like nothing ever happened, of course, because it's a new her, right? And she was picked to lead a newly formed team at work, and she's considering other offers. So, but she goes, and other things. So her career, she just remembered it all wrong. Right? She remembered it all wrong. But she goes, I don't even care about that. She's just light as a feather here, not even caring about that stuff. Knowing, feeling, understanding that she is that multidimensional being, that she creates everything right here, that there is no past, there is no future other than right now. And you create, you highlight, you light up those identities right now. You choose right now. So let's hit this idea and then go over the techniques that we talked about. Remember, the most powerful way to change the past is to choose who you are right now. Because as you focus on, well, nothing has changed, or I want to change the past, well, you create that idea right now. Do you see it? Who and what you're conscious of being, your self-concept, creates who and what you were and who and what you will be. In other words, it creates your entire life experience or experience of reality now. The only moment in time there is, right? So you are the only one who decides who you are. That's what I am God, and there is no other means, right? It's all about you. It's all about who, and the who is you, right? It's God choosing through you and as you, as I mentioned yesterday, right? This is powerful. So remember, and she was talking about friends who would tell her to get real when she would share some of this stuff, right? Remember, get real means to choose and decide what's real or true to you and for you. You create it all. Forget about the others. Forget about anything that you believe is out there. You get to decide what you accept as true and is true and real of who and what you are, what you accept, what you agree with as your experience of reality. What you accept and agree with as your reality is the only truth, right? No person no event, no circumstance, no thought, no feeling, no image, no memory has the power and authority to define or choose who and what you are. You have complete and absolute dominion over your experience of reality, and your experiencing is reality. Really, really want to get to this. I know, and some of you are going, well, still nothing has changed, but remember, I urge you that you're creating that past that hasn't changed right now. How would you even know? Because you're coming from an identity that declares that it hasn't changed. That's the paradox we're dealing with here. So, Jesus, your I am awareness of being, is your Savior, the one and only authority over your life experience or reality. It saves you from delivering yourself up to the changing conditions. That's what you're doing. You're just delivering yourself up to others, to conditions, to thoughts, to feelings, to sensations, to images of the past. You're delivering yourself up to those conditions. You're allowing those conditions to determine who you are in this now moment, versus you deciding who you are and allowing those conditions and those frames and those realities to form around that identity, right? You remember, that's why I always bring this from John 19:11, because it is powerful, but we're going to look at it in a little bit different way today. You could have no power at all against me, would have no authority over me at all, as what Jesus said, unless it had been given to you from above. Jesus was very clear. That's your I am awareness. That's the real you. Your past has no power. The others have no power. Your thoughts have no power. Your feelings have no power. Conditions have no power. Then Jesus goes on, which I haven't talked about a lot of the second part of this. Therefore, the one who delivered me to you has the greater sin. Well, who delivered you? The conditions. Your past, your images of the past, your feelings, your thoughts, others are delivering you up, right? To the 3D, you're delivering yourself up to that, to non-fulfillment, right? Your identification with the changing conditions as who you are, rather than choosing and identifying and defining yourself as your ideal identity and ideal reality. Do you see it? Therefore, the one who delivered me to you has the greater sin. Hear what your I am awareness is saying, right? Meaning you're not identifying right now with that ideal identity that changes who you were and who you will be. That's the sin, right? That's what Neville Goddard talked about a lot, right? The whole idea of sin is not identifying, continually identifying with your ideal. That's what continual forgiveness of sin is. It's because as you continually identify with your ideal, you're forgiven, you're saved, right? As you identify with your new reality. That's powerful. Remember, you're creating your entire experience of reality, past, present, and future now. Your true identity, the higher self, who you really are. And here you are in 3D reality, but that's still you. Even though you're having this, what feels like a solid and continuous experience, there is no continuity. You create the threads, you create the connections from this present frame, from this focused point in time and space. You create it from that I amness. You create that linear past, you create that linear future, but it's all you, and it's always changing, depending on how you define yourself, right? Who are you? There's no linear story in the past or future. You create those connections, you create those threads now in the present by how you define yourself right now. You create the past you create the past you, or the past identity, or the past history, or the past that you remember, that makes sense in linear time and space sense to what you would have had to been in order to become who you are now. This really, Bashar talks about this brilliantly, right? In the present, by who you define yourself to be right now, you create the past you create the horizontal past, that past experience that makes sense to what you would have had to been or experience in order to become who you are right now. Wow! That identification of who you are right now changes to a horizontal past that makes more sense in linear time and space sense to who you have defined yourself to be right now. Right? That other past, belongs to that other identity. That's no longer you. Whether you can remember it or not doesn't matter. It's no longer the past that makes sense to who you are now. Wow, let's continue this. This is powerful. So when you say nothing has changed, you're creating an identity, defining yourself as a version of you for whom and through whom nothing has changed. Do you see it? The horizontal past reality or past you that you're creating is one with which nothing has changed. And that changes everything. Do you see it? You've changed the past, present, and future by saying nothing has changed, by defining yourself as someone that for whom and through whom nothing has changed. You've changed a past you. You've created a past where nothing has changed. You're creating a future where nothing will change. You've changed everything, but you keep saying you haven't. You're always remembering a completely different past in every moment by who you define yourself to be in the present. And that's true of the future as well. You create a different past you in history that makes linear sense in space and time for and to the person you choose or you change yourself into in this now present moment. That's powerful, right? Bashar, when you create a new past, it's one that makes sense as if it's been your past the whole time, as if it's always been your past. How you define yourself, so how do you even know? Right? You're saying nothing has changed, but everything has changed. But you're creating an identity of you and a linear past that makes sense to that identity where nothing has changed. So nothing has happened is created right now. Right? And you can know, and you can't know anything other than that. That's powerful. That's powerful. So I remember, that's why in Solaris, when Chris Kelvin is talking about as he saw his wife that died by suicide, and then at the end, as they are reunited again, right? And or as before they were reunited again, as he comes back to Earth, he goes, I remembered her wrong. Somehow I was wrong about everything. When you allow past images or any person, event, circumstance, thought, feeling, or memory to define who and what you are right now, you are remembering it wrong and will somehow be wrong about everything. That's powerful. Why? Because nothing and no one has the power authority, as we've said, to define and choose who you are in your life experience, your reality, but you, that I am, right now. But you're going to go, well, Tom, but what do I do when I remember a past image that I no longer prefer? Right? Remember, when you remember that past that you don't prefer. Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now. These are the two exercises, one for the past and future, that I talked about with this client, that she says it's changing everything. So remember, nothing has any power but you. You define who you are right now, and that changes everything. So what did we talk about? Try this. Give love and gratitude to that past version and identity of you for having had that linear experience, or for having that linear experience, having that linear past that you no longer prefer. Do you see it? It doesn't, remember, it's all you. You're all identities. You're in all memories, all images. But you're giving love and gratitude to that other version of you that has that past that you no longer prefer, for having that experience that moved you to redefine yourself now as the identity and version that has a new linear past that makes sense to who you have become and are now. Wow, hear this. Here's what she did. Remember, how did she do it? She just got into a relaxed state. Some like a state akin to sleep. I talked to her about an alpha state is fine, a nice relaxed state, and give love and gratitude to that past version identity for having that linear past that is no longer your linear past. Because you're no longer that person. You're no longer that identity. You're no longer identifying as that. You're more than that now. Right? You're a different identity. So for having that experience, that experience because it's all you, moved you to redefine yourself right now as an identity inversion that no longer has that past that other past version has. You have a new linear past that makes more sense to who you have become now. So that past now belongs to her, the old identity of you. And you're just giving love and gratitude to her because it is all you. It's an experience of that multidimensional you that moved you to redefine yourself right now, that gave you another horizontal, a new linear past that makes more sense to who you are. Hear the power in this, right? This is what she did. And I also gave her for the future that I've talked about in previous videos. Imagine your future self visiting you now. Remember, they're not future and they're not past. It's all happening right now, but we use that as a concession as you're focused in this 3D experience of linear time and space, so it can make sense to you, right? Imagine your future self visiting you now, and that future self is expressing love and gratitude to you and for you for experiencing your linear present. Right? Because that inspired your future self and the amazing future that your future self is having. Your future self is, I'm getting tingles, is expressing love and gratitude to you, this present you, for being who you are, for having this linear experience, who you've defined yourself right now, who you are. Because it moved that future self to redefine them, to become something even more than who you are now. Whew, that's a tongue twister. Do you get it? It's all you. It's all here and now. But so that amazing future's already there. Your future self's already living it. And as you define who you define yourself now, creates that, moves that future self, just like the past you, right? That past you and that past experience moved you to redefine who you are in the present that gave you a new linear past. This future self is thanking you because it's moved your future self to a new level, to level up, to experience amazing things, and is thanking you for that linear present that you're experiencing. That's powerful. These are the two techniques that we talked about. Have fun with these, right? Don't complicate them. It's all you, right? So give love and gratitude to that past version identity of you for having that linear past. That it's no longer your preference. It moved you to define who you are, redefine yourself again in this present moment. That created actually a new horizontal past that's more reflective of who you believe yourself to be now, who you define and assume yourself to be now. But it's all you. You're just more of who you are now. Do you see it? So that horizontal past that you still remember, that's possible, but it's no longer yours, it's hers. And you're giving love and gratitude to her. And then in your future, you're imagining your future self visiting you, expressing love and gratitude to you, for you experiencing this linear present, for you redefining yourself. And creating that experience that naturally moved your future self to redefine itself, to know itself even be greater and know more of its infinite self than it did before, for that amazing future. That's powerful. All right, I'll let you work with this, right? Potent technique to change your past and make your ideal future and create your ideal future. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for joining us on TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, and for being part of the membership channel. Next weekend, Sunday, February 25th, 2024, we're going to have our second live stream of the year, our 11th live event on the channel, and it's going to be broadcast on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel next weekend, next Sunday at 9 a.m. Keep sending your questions and the topics that you would like to discuss to info@besomethingwonderful.com. And we'll go live, and it should be fun. It always is. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, This is Tom here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. Until next time, we'll see you soon.